Bonjour, let's talk about money. Do you want to know how much French people make? This is not something you'll hear often from a French person, except at a job interview with the typical question, what's your salary expectation? So you may want to have some notion of what French people make to start your salary negotiation in your recruitment process, for example. I'm Giga, a French born in Brittany and raised in Lyon. I am also a global mobility professional for the past 12 years. I blog at Expat in France to help English-speaking expats to understand the French culture and find their ways in the maze of the French administration. This is not part of French culture to talk about money. There might be some remains of the Catholic culture where it is a taboo to talk about it. We do not show our payslip to anyone and we do not tell how much we make. Catholicism is a religion to help the poor and where getting rich is not well seen. Even though France is now an atheist country, its Catholic roots left some traces. I will talk about the French population as a whole. Of course, salaries may vary a lot depending on industries, experience, or the size of the company you're working for. I will remain quite general now, so you will need to make your market research regarding your industry to have more specific numbers matching your situation. Let's start with the French minimum salary and also the median salary, as it helps a lot to get a better idea of the general income in France. As it is the case in many other countries, France has a legal minimum wage. It is re-evaluated annually in line with the inflation and also takes somehow into account the general salaries evolution. The minimum wage is called SMIC in France. It is €10.25 gross per hour in 2021. This would mean €1,230.61 net per month for a full-time job of 35 hours per week. Yes, a full-time job can be 35 hours per week up to 39 hours per week. To simplify, if your work contract is above 35 hours, the differential will be given back in extra days off that we call RTT or RTT in English. But I'm not getting into details of the RTT system now. Caution, when we talk about net amount in France, it is the amount after social charges but before paying income taxes. Income tax only started to be withdrawn directly from taxpayer salaries since 2019. I think France was one of the last countries to implement the direct income tax deduction. Before, we had to pay it directly to the French tax office. So the difference on our payslip up until 2019 was only the social contributions. If you're wondering what's the difference between social charges and income taxes, since it's all going out of your pocket, well, in short, the social charges, also called social contributions, are financing special funds for retirement, maternity, unemployment, and more. In opposition, the taxes integrate the government's budget that can be distributed as per the government policy. But why am I telling you this now? Well, the difference between the gross amount and the net amount before income tax is about a 22% deduction for the employee social contribution. And also, the employer's social charges will be about 47% or 48% on the top of your gross salary. This percentage will vary depending on the type of work contract you have, if you have an executive work contract, statut cadre, or if you have an employee work contract, statut non cadre, or if you're self-employed. You see that the high social contribution by both the employer and the employee also explain why the French salary can be lower than other countries, such as the US or Australia, for example. Taxes is a whole other topic that I won't get into specifics here. I am not a tax advisor, and I'll be happy to welcome one for an interview. When I do, you will find a video up there. Now let's talk about the France average income and the median salary. I prefer to focus on the median salary rather than the average one. You'll soon understand why. An employee working full-time in France makes an average income of €2,340 net per month. These are data from INSEE, the French National Statistics Institute, based on the last census done in 2017. In my opinion, this number is not so meaningful since the top salaries impact this average quite a lot. When you look at the median salary, this is 1,845 euros net per month. This means that half of the population earns less than that amount and that the other half makes more. According to the Inequality Observatory, l'Observatoire des inégalités en France, the working class in France represents the first 30% on the salary scale and is earning under 1,534 euro net per month. Then the middle class will be between 30% and 80% on the salary scale and is earning between 1,534 euros and 2,784 euros net per month. And finally, the higher class, representing the 20% richest in France, is making over 2,784 euro net per month. These values are for single persons. In this table, you can see the difference depending on the family size. You may find other data on the internet, but this is mainly to give you an order of magnitude of how much working people make in France. You will find the link to the source I used in the description below. Salaries in France is usually expressed monthly or annually. The employers only use the gross amounts, and the hourly rate can also sometimes be mentioned for some types of positions. Did this help you to make sense of the French salary system? I have always found it very different and somehow complicated compared to other countries I've worked in, such as the UK. If it helped you, please give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to be informed of my next expat dedicated videos. Merci beaucoup et à bientôt!